Bokuwa, Rachel. Down here, we've got Kelly Chan.
Stop it!
And between us, we've got Randy and Cyrus representing My Hero One's Justice. We are huge My Hero fans.
I can tell.
That's awesome.
We're so excited for this game. You announced this game. We didn't get to see too much of it in the days leading up to it. So tell me where we're at right now. Give me a quick top down of One's Justice.
So One's Justice is the game that's based on the popular series. It takes place in the later half of the second season, and then kind of allows players to play through the current moments of season 3 right now. And the game itself is a 3D arena fighter that lets you play through epic moments with some of your favorite characters.
That is so cool. So I love that you guys have ground this in a very specific part in the anime story, which is, we determined partway through season 2, right after he's done with his internship with Gran Torino, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Turismo.
So she's already doing it.
They are good.
Yeah,
They're really good.
We need to step it up.
I'm really excited. You guys already announced how many characters?
We announced about 17 characters.
And you guys do plan on having DLC releasing more characters as like months go on?
We'll be sharing more info about that in the few coming weeks.
We just have
Okay.
some
Social
gameplay, so we can get the
channels,
gameplay up right over as we talk here and have a little peek.
So
Yeah.
I do have to say one quick thing. It is Randy's birthday today. He
Randy!
wasn't gonna say that on stream, but everybody, it's Randy's birthday. We call him
Happy
Randy in the
birthday!
Get some
office.
birthday spam in the chat, please.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And the second thing is that Randy and I actually have a competition going with this game. Right now it's tied for our matches, so we are going to be a little bit competitive while we show up.
Yeah, Cyrus thinks he's better than me, but we'll settle that here.
I am.
All right,
Dude, I wouldn't want anything more than
who
to
are
see
each
a
of you
competition.
playing as? Do you have a favorite hero that you like to play? A favorite like quirk you like to
I'm
use?
Deku all day.
Deku all day.
I'm
That's my
Deku
buddy.
all day.
And I'm always best boy Todoroki.
Best boy.
That's controversial, man.
That Todoroki versus Deku fight was
It was-
revolutionary.
It made me cry.
Yeah.
I
So
showed
good.
that
Made me
clip
cry.
to a bunch of like non-believers, and they start watching it
Instantly,
immediately. Yes.
right?
That's one of those
Instantly.
things. It sets apart the My Hero anime and the way that it tells similar stories, but puts a twist on them. It's so wholesome. It's amazing. When All Might goes around and hugs all his students and says they did a
So
good
good.
job.
And then he tries to hug Bakugo, and he like snaps and throws. Oh, yeah. Sorry, we can talk about the anime
Yes.
forever. Let's play the game.
Fight it out,
It's not a
boys.
game.
Let's do it.
So when I look at fighting games, one of the first things that I'm trying to think about is balancing here. Obviously, off the anime, All Might is the #1 hero. He's the strongest one here. But you're probably gonna try to not make him that way in this game.
Yeah, we wanted to be fair for casual and those hardcore fans of the series. Although, you know, All Might is #1 hero, we wanted to be able to have, you know, players play as some of the other characters against him, make it a fair fight.
Do we ever see skinny All Might?
We'll be sharing more info
We'll be
about
sharing
that.
more info
soon.
on
Okay.
our social
I
channels.
feel like we're going to hear that a lot during this interview.
That's okay. I'm still gonna ask all of them. You guys can just like turn me down every time.
One of the coolest things about this game is you have your main character, but you also have these 2 sidekick characters that you can use. And those sidekick characters will come out and use their quirk to aid you however you want in your battle.
So sort of like a Sis in Marvel vs. Capcom, except you can't summon them.
Right, exactly.
Or you can't play as them,
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you decide which characters we were going to be playing as directly and which ones were going to be our assists?
Want
Well,
to take that?
yeah, well, you know, every character has an awesome quirk, so the more you play with each character, you kind of get to know, feel how they play within the game, and then it's up to you to choose who you really like. I really like Ochako because, you know, she uses gravity. I can pull her in to, you know, float Cyrus over here up so I can continue my combos.
I'm not going to let him do it, though.
The casual savagery while talking.
I know, right? I was like, maybe we should show them a little bit of the gameplay, and then Randy just came in and started attacking. But it's okay.
So the 2 psychic characters you have are both darkened, but you see a blue meter underneath it. As if you do attacks, the bar grows and then you can summon them?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a lot of management going on in how you want your characters to come out. Right now, I just brought in Bakugo, but now because I just brought him in, it's going to take a while for him to recharge again.
Yeah, we see these 2 other bars under our fighters are currently out. What are those going to represent and how are we going to use them?
So the one with the 1 is basically like a special meter. So you get 3 quirk specials. So one's a light quirk attack, and then one's a second, which is like a bigger, more powerful quirk. But then it also allows like a cutscene like this.
That's for level 2?
Yeah, level 2. And then third is the entire team comes out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any special interactions with, like, if you have like Bakugo and Deku together and he's like, shut up, Bakugo, or something like that?
Well
Or
played,
Deku, I should
Randy.
say.
Well played, well played.
Tell you, Cyrus.
That was good. That was
It's
good.
his birthday. You're
It's a
letting him
2 out
win,
of 3.
right?
It's a 2 out of 3, and I don't want him to, you know, be sad on his birthday.
Oh, really?
Generous of you.
I know. I'm such a good friend, right?
So as I was saying before, is there any special interactions between characters that have ties together?
Yeah, so there's also a story mode, which we just announced. With that, you know, you do get some of the cool cutscenes within the show that really let you relive some of the experiences and the relationships between the characters.
Will we be changing up costumes as we go through? And can you tell us any future ones coming?
So there's actually a whole new mode that we just announced, which offers up character customization, where you can put on a bunch of different costumes from different characters onto whichever main character you want to use.
So Deku can wear an All Might costume?
Exactly.
Oh my heart, no. What about our uniforms? Do they have uniforms?
Are we in there?
Yeah, they're in there.
You guys are focusing so hard on the game.
There's clearly a lot at stake here. So, as fans of the games yourself, what has been your most joyous thing to kind of notice that is included here?
I just love seeing the quirks like brought to life, like just seeing Deku right here.
Yes.
Lick that finger,
Yeah.
egg in the
And it
microwave.
looks beautiful. And right now, Deku is actually in. Oh man,
Sorry,
well
Cyrus.
done, well done, well done. That was good. That was good. We'll play again though. Right now, Deku is actually in full cow mode, which makes his abilities a bit stronger, just like in the show.
I love it. I love it. So when you talk about the abilities getting stronger, we also talk about balance when it comes to fighting games competitive here. Are you more concerned with making this a fun game for the fans of the anime and the manga to play through, or is this also going to have a bit of a competitive side to it?
I mean, you can see just from
Well,
Randy
from you
and
two,
I,
obviously, there's...
we're definitely competitive. There's a lot of fun aspects to this game that make it available for that competition, but we really just want the fans to have fun.
Well, beyond competition, for me, it's about the story mode. And you said that this is towards the end of the second season. Is that where the story mode takes place, or is it kind of its own unique story?
So that's where the story takes place, and then you get to relive some of the current scenes that's going on right now in season 3. With that, there are some original scenarios in there. We're not going to share too much about that, so we want players to really experience it.
But what we can say is that when you jump into this game, you can play the hero side as well as the villain side, which offers you
For the story?
which
Yeah.
offers you a whole new.
That's legitimate.
Well, the
whole
anime does a really
stories to
good
jump
job
into.
telling both sides of the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, exactly, and we wanted to showcase that in Once Justice as well.
I'll play All Night.
I'll play All Night. I'll play All Night. How about that?
He's my favorite.
I'll play as Dobby.
Dobby?
I'll play as Dobby.
Okay, okay.
He's pretty cool. He's a fan favorite, honestly. Him and Toga are really well liked by the community.
And we're getting a sneak peek of some of the stages here, but can you give us a little more insight onto, will we be going along with the story as we unlock the story, the stages will become available to fight on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know how it goes.
I'm just sort of making sure for myself
Yeah.
so I can promise myself what's to come. I don't want to get too excited, but I am really interested to see what those new scenarios that you guys are going to be adding, particularly for the game. When you added those in, were those in collaboration with the creators of My Hero, and do they, are they canon? Is that the way to ask it?
I feel like it's something for the fans to experience, but we are working closely with the creators and the series production team.
Is there any instances in the map where you knock down a wall and go through a mountain, and then you end up in another location?
Not
There's
necessarily,
no
but
scene change.
Okay.
But most, if not everything, in the stage is destructible, as you can see when All Might is throwing his quirk back at Dobby.
Why
you
is
can
he
see
blue?
all of these. That's Dobby's quirk.
Right.
Yeah. So
Are
you
these
can see
stages?
all of these trees that are being destroyed, and then they're going to stay destroyed for the entire match.
Yeah, this stage is massive. Can you take us to some of the limits of the...
Let's just run.
I can't just
And we
let
did
you
see
run
some
away, Sarah.
stage interaction. Are we going to be able to get up on the walls to use some of our quirks to
You can
Yeah,
get
you
up on
can.
the walls, yeah.
What was
so
the
the fight goes
decision for
vertical.
that?
We just wanted to make it over top, as fun as possible for the
Yeah.
fans.
Going to more of a technical side, there's two sets of combos here. There's auto combos and manual combos. So what are the differences between those, and what do you think players are going to tend to lean towards?
I think it depends on the player itself. So the normal mode is really for the casual fans that just want to kind of experience the quirks, but somebody who wants to get more technical and kind of chain combos, the manual is the way to go.
Well played, man. Well played.
I love not only are the hits given little comic boofs, but the misses as well. There's a whoosh in there that was
Yeah. It's got
a bit of a call out.
The comic book feel is also in the story mode as well. You're gonna see when you are playing these episodic scenes, it really showcases it like a comic book.
How difficult, though, was it to turn these quirks into sets of moves and everything?
You know what? It's always a good time trying to create something from a kind of a 2D environment and bringing it to life. But I think the developers did a really great job just bringing everything, the cel-shaded animation here.
Oh no, I missed!
To see.
I'm doing it again for the fans.
He has the classic
It's for the
smashes,
fans.
of course.
Oh,
you
no.
got wrecked again!
No Detroit Smash for you.
What other systems aren't we just seeing right now, like obviously, that are in the game that maybe FGC players would want to know about?
So there's a guard break attack, which is pretty cool. As you can see, when Cyrus hits me, he turns like a bright yellow,
Right.
which means it does a lot more damage than usual, and you're able to kind of fight through attacks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, conveying that information visually is a huge help to people who are kind of unfamiliar with those minutia of fighting games.
Yeah.
As I cannot wait for this game to come out. Where can I keep track of it? When's it coming out? And what's to come?
Yeah, you can stay tuned to all of our social channels at Bandai Namco US. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and we'll be posting everything about this game as more information rolls out.
Well, thank you guys both
Thank you.
so much. You're
Yeah.
so excited to do this segment. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for your game, and I'm so excited for what you guys get to see next, because it's more Kelly geeking out. Stay tuned.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Rachel said I'd be back and to geek out, and I am. We are here, E3 on Twitch 2018. Kelly Link, joined by Okadrian, and we have Wilson and Dimitri, and we're going to be looking at Dragon Ball FighterZ. Woo! Now, this game's already come out. It's been really well received. I played it. It actually released on my birthday.
Awesome.
So I had friends fly in. We all played just Dragon Ball FighterZ the entire day for my birthday, which might sound lame to some, but it was really awesome to me.
Awesome. Love to hear that.
Good. So what's new? What are we looking at Dragon Ball FighterZ for?
So Dragon Ball FighterZ, we just announced that it's coming to Nintendo Switch. It was out on. It's just awesome. It's funny because last year when we announced the game, first question's like, when's it coming to Nintendo Switch? We need it on Switch. That's all we ever heard. So every single time we had news about it, it's like, when's it coming to Nintendo Switch? So glad to announce it's coming out to Nintendo Switch at this year's E3.
This is the best possible news you could ever release.
Seriously.
Traveling like fighting games on the go
That's
with just
right.
a Switch, no laptop setup, no looking around through luggage and having like TSA look at you and like you want to 1v1, that's 3 out of 5.
That's right.
Now you can just bring your Switch and play fighting games.
You know, it's gonna be really fun if you guys ever have adapters though for arcade sticks on the Switch, and you see this tiny little Switch and then this giant arcade stick.
There's a
out.
Rory stick you can get.
Really?
Yeah, for the Switch.
For the Switch?
Yeah, it's.
Well, now I gotta get that Rory stick, or Rory stick, I should say. Oh, goodness. Okay, well, we're looking at the classic characters here. However, there has been some DLC announcements for new characters, such as Brawly and Bardock. Correct?
We got Barley and Bardock, and we also have Zamasu and Vegito. We just released those.
Yep, just released those.
And we still got 4 more to go.
Yeah.
So,
What?
yes.
Okay.
That's right.
So, from that knowledge, because I remember hearing that the movies aren't canon, but you guys are now adding movie characters into this, such as Bardock. So are we going to see Tapion? He's my favorite character.
They paused.
No one else likes him. He's my favorite character.
You know, we haven't announced all the characters. More information to come, so look forward to
That
it.
means yes. Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
We'll take it. How does the game run? Are we looking at the same specs as the other consoles?
Yeah, so the game runs beautifully, 60 frames per second. We really want to keep that same feel from PS4 and X1, and you know, it's just like the anime brought to life. I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's really smooth. All the effects are in there. You know, Arc System Works has just done a beautiful job in just bringing this, the game to the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, especially what they've taken from Guilty Gear, Phenomenal Fighter, and then putting the Arc system into this, as well as having, you know, the assist, 3 characters and everything. This is such a phenomenal game. But the best part about it is definitely when you get the cuts of them using moves from the manga or the anime, and it is a perfect one-for-one reflection.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, they've just taken a lot of inspiration from the manga, and really just incorporated that painstakingly into the game. So there's a lot of people online just literally take pages from the manga and they compare it to the game. It's like 1 for 1.
Dude, the Trunks sword slash that he does when he's fighting Metal Frieza is even better in the game than it is in the anime. It's so cool.
It feels like every tournament when something happens, it feels like you're watching the anime all over again. Like, whenever I hear Brawly laugh when he's like, ah, with his Razor Cannon, I'm like,
Especially the supers, like Gohan's one hand can be a man. And
brings a tear to your eye, saying, oh, make Gohan great again.
So can you guys tell us what supers we're going to be seeing for Vegito or Bardock and Brawly, or have they already been seen? I haven't seen them.
They've already seen them. We actually,
okay.
I think the biggest drop for those DLC characters is the dramatic finishes where they go, like they're basically homages to the show.
Yeah.
So you'll see, you'll have Bardock and Frieza fight each other, and then at the very end, you know, Frieza just destroys
Yeah.
it. You'll have
And
stuff like
Bardock
that through the
fades into
cutscene.
the
Yeah. It's totally amazing.
Now, as we usually allude to, this is very important to the fighting game community. So if there is competition going on the Switch and there are patch notes for things that need to be fixed, like, I don't know, Vegeta Assist, when that happens, it's going to be universal across all consoles at the exact same time?
Yeah, so I mean that's the goal, right? Is to make sure that any kind of fixes or updates, patches, nerfs, things like that, that they would go across all the different platforms, right? So we don't want different versions on different systems at a time. So as close as we can get, kind of all the updates, we'll do them all together.
That's best news.
Yeah.
Man, so bringing it to the Switch, is it just to another new console, new hands, or is there new content being added as well?
You know, there's we didn't really announce a whole lot of new information from a content standpoint. There's actually some things that were added specifically to Nintendo Switch. Something called the simple Joy-Con controls, so that you know, for younger players, when there's so many buttons and combinations, we've actually made it a lot easier. Like some of the ultimates is like one-tap buttons, things like that, instead of like multiple button configurations and presses. So that's something that we just announced there's going to be additional Nintendo Switch specifics that we'll be announcing at a later date.
Well, you're making it really accommodating to everyone. Also having the auto moves, the auto combo set, with that, it can definitely help the lower level players, but you also have it set so that the high level players in the FGC can defeat those other people with ease.
Correct.
I think the biggest draw there for the FGC community is like being able to practice before they get to the matches. They're traveling a lot, so on the plane, boom, I can get my matches in. You know?
Right.
Dimitri, would you consider yourself to be a high-level player?
High-level player? Ooh, no, I wouldn't, because I don't want my butt kicked by the FGC players. I say I'm a high-level player, and then like they come and see me.
He just said he'll beat all of you.
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, how do you feel about the Joy-Con controls yourself?
I like the Joy-Con controls a lot. I prefer it to play portably, so it's a little tricky and not having a switch in between my hands here, but I can make it work.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Does it work? The Nintendo Switch just announced the GameCube controller. I know that's going to be for Smash, but would you be able to use that on this?
That is a good question. We haven't tried it. We haven't tried it. It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know many people. I know obviously the Smash community loves the GameCube controllers. I don't know if the fighting game community really prefers them in general, but it would be cool to see if it could work. But now that I know that a Hori stick works for the Switch, I know what I'm gonna have to get. I already own 3 sticks, so I can't really justify owning a 4th, but I'm
Sure you can. If we have 4 friends. Or 3 friends.
True enough.
Yeah, 1 for each friend.
Yeah.
No passing it along.
No.
Easy.
Yeah, I like it.
This is why we do the fighting game stuff. Speaking of that, there's a Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour. Are there any plans to incorporate the Switch version in that, or is that like a shut up?
You know, we haven't really. We recently just announced the tour. A lot more information to come. You know, so it's very soon. So that's
like
that's
the
what I can
filtering,
say.
like,
Well, can you, in case the audience hasn't heard, do you mind telling us a little bit about the tournament of what you can?
Yeah, so the World Tours, we just announced it. So the first official location will be at CEO. That's happening.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to CEO.
Oh, awesome.
To CEO?
Great. Well, yes.
I've been going there
I guess
every year
I'm
since
going.
That's right.
2012.
Oh,
So
awesome.
Kelly, we can confirm top 8 in CEOs,
Yeah, top
right?
8.
You've been
Nice job,
practicing,
Kelly.
huh?
You got it.
Community effort Orlando. I guess I have to go now too.
There you go.
I'm so excited.
I'll see you in the bottom 8 then.
It's going to be great. I don't want to give any spoils away because I know a few special events that Jamil has planned there, and I don't know if it's private or not. So I won't say anything. But if you can go to CEO, it's in Daytona. Check it out.
That's
it's going to
right.
be great.
Right. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, so it's the first location there. Is it going to be kind
what
of
are we
similar
doing?
to the Evo seating, where each tournament gives you seating points?
You know, all of that will be
Right.
revealed. We didn't talk about the details specifically, but probably in the next few weeks.
For those who are
more news.
currently here at E3, is there a playable version of this that you can go in the store and
Yes,
play?
yeah. So you can come to the Bandai Namco booth in the West Hall, South Hall.
I'll believe whatever you say.
Yep, South Hall, and then also in the Nintendo booth, you can also play Dragon Ball FighterZ there as well.
Fantastic.
Find a break for that.
So we obviously have the game for the Switch here, but I do want to talk about the future of Dragon Ball FighterZ and your plans to continue releasing new content or maybe patching in. Obviously, balancing is very important.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, the game's always being worked on, and then we always see comments from the players, different things that could be improved upon, how we can tweak certain characters. You know, we don't want. It's a lot of competitive balance. It's always about that in terms of fighting games. There's going to be 4 more characters that are going to be coming out in terms of future DLC for the Fighters Pass. And then, you know, that's kind of what we have right now. But we want to kind of continue and grow the Dragon Ball FighterZ brand through the next few years.
If there was anyone you could personally add from Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Super, not GT, doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
What would you? Who
It's
would you
trash.
put into?
Come on,
You want
man.
to put Kid Goku into? No, sorry. What would you put into the game?
Sorry.
I mean, most of the major characters that I'm into are already in the game. I think it's really great that certain characters like Android 21 were like created specifically
Yeah.
for
Really cool.
fighters, which I thought that was really cool. But most of my favorite characters are already in there. So, Dimitri, are there specific characters that you would want to see in there? You know, we
I got
get
one.
all kinds of lists every single
King
day.
Kai, and he uses Bubbles and Gregory.
okay.
Because Bubbles hits people with a hammer, you can have that as like an assist. Just like how Captain Ginyu has all of the Ginyu Force as his assists. You could do it with Gregory and Bubbles with King Kai. Also, that's the only way that I will listen to the game in English, because King Kai's voice in English is the best.
It
JT
sounds like
voice.
you've been writing some fanfic there. You have it all set up. You have it all planned out.
I've been reading it. It's really good.
You're not supposed to kill him.
Really
We're speaking of add Dipso. It's not like a I wish they would. I'm just saying directly add Dipso. That means yes, you can tell the body language. It's not like, oh, I'm not sure, man, it's in the future.
You know what? If enough people ask for it, you know, it's always a thing, right? I mean,
There you go, community.
It's in my fanfic.
Yep.
It's in your fanfic. We trade fanfics every. Yeah, I know. It's guys. Thank you so much for showing us the Switch for Dragon Ball Fighters. It looks really cool for the Joy-Con. I know now that I can play with a stick. It's a great way for players to practice while they're traveling and everything. Because of course, for these international events such as CEO, a bunch of players are going to be flying over and they're going to want to make sure that they win the tournament. When can people expect the Switch version?
It's coming 2018. That's all I can say right now.
That's
Okay,
fine.
that's good. That's good enough.
Wilson, Dimitri, thank you so much. And on behalf of Okadrian and myself, everyone, do not go anywhere here on E3 on Twitch. We still have more content coming up soon.
Do you really wanna love me that like you say you do? Give it to me like you say you do. Cause it's warm enough for
you. Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Yo. Oh my.
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Yeah, I'm paying great, all dust and fade. When I call for you, all I hear back is pain. Every song mistake, even diamonds fade. When the darkness comes, I count up my mistakes. We were the thunder and the lightning, burning fire started from a spark. I would spend you just to watch you twirl. It was us against the world. You were the rain falling on my skin. Yeah, I was dying when you pulled me in. I was your rebel and you were my girl. It was us against the world.
Welcome back to E3. I'm joined by Kira down on the end, and we've got James and we've got Bill, and we're going to be talking about Mavericks and why bigger is better. You guys have what is promising to be the biggest Battle Royale game mode on the market. So starting from there, tell me what else makes Mavericks special.
Yeah, so size is something which I think if you just look at players, isn't quite showing you the whole picture. Mavericks is built in a very different way to games on the market today. And what we're just as excited about is the level of sort of dynamic behavior in the world. We see it as more of like a world than just a map. And you have like foliage systems, destruction systems, tracking, wildlife, all the stuff that comes together to mean all those players actually create information that you can build your strategies from, which is a very different sort of level to the gameplay than what you would have seen so far.
Yeah, I guess the player base is the big flashy number, but what that really speaks to is how much you are able to put into this game and then have all these people connect to it and have it work and have it be an incredible experience. So what was that process like for you guys?
I mean, one of the things that we do at Improbable is really try to find just like the best developers in the world that share this vision we have, which is creating truly immersive virtual worlds, right? And I think when you see something like a Battle Royale format, it just cries out to have ways where what players do to have real meaning, not just that drop in, have that very intense amount of fun, but then you're back out and you're kind of done, right? So having a way where you bring that life to a world, as James talks about, which I just love, is it's not just a map, it's a living world that you're in. And having, as you play the game, and the more you play it, you actually learn things about the environment and how you use that, and how that becomes something that you grow from. And the more the numbers of people you have and the size of the world and that depth actually have real meaning.
And we're talking about numbers in this game. Right now, you have 400 people at once on this map, and after you launch, you're going to have 1,000 people in this map, Battle Royale. That is incredible.
Yeah, I think with the game mode that we have, it's important to think about the different ways you can play the game. So we'll have events where you do have like 1,000 solos. Typically online, we're looking at the 5-man squad mode being the typical 1,000 player game type, just because we also think about the best timings for these sessions, how long you want to be in a game for. This isn't about creating long, dragged-out sessions every time, right? This format can work in different contexts, with competitive games being lower down, like 200 players, but really focused on that density, and then these epic events being, unprecedented scale.
Cool. Well, tell me a little bit about the hub where I'm going to be making the decision about what game mode I want to play. When I log in, where am I going to start? Yeah,
so rather than the sort of menu experience, Mavericks is a virtual world, almost like a MMORPG. Well, it very much is as well. Like you enter through a social hub where you can trade, your progression, like what you wear on your character isn't something you just sort of buy for real life money. A lot of your character's clothing, this is stuff that you trade with in-game wealth. In-game achievements are very much represented on your character in Mavericks. So you walk around the social hub, you can trade, you can go to the auction houses, the shops. So there is that whole side of the experience as well. And when you look specifically in at the sort of session-based, the Battle Royale, Last Man Standing mode, it's not that you bring weapons in with you, like it's still that focused competitive session. But that cosmetic achievement set and that stuff that you bring in means we have sort of a deeper kind of progression in the game, ways to show off what you're good at. And so that sort of whole experience comes together. We do have an open world as well, like you can walk out of that capital and risk items. And so this all comes together into a world, a bit like, if you think about inspirations, like think more about the Battle Royale film, the Hunger Games. These are things where the sort of Last Man Standing was epic because it wasn't just, okay, we're done. Like there was a broader context to that whole experience, and that's sort of being done for the first time in a game in Mavericks.
I'm so excited that you said the Battle Royale film, because I was literally walking around with DJ Wheat before, and we're like, how has no one done, in the actual movie, they're all on the bus and then in a classroom, and then you let them out one by one, and that's a totally different strategy, a totally different approach to the Battle Royale style, and if you're going to steal from the movie, steal from the best part of it. But not to say that you stole it, but that it is a game mode that players have been crying for, and it sounds like that you're, instead of approaching Battle Royale as a single one-off game, you're approaching it as a hub experience that you can then put all these exciting variations on.
Yes, and there's so much more. Like Battle Royale might be already having a lot of popularity recently, where you just sort of add in this game mode to what's otherwise a different game, or we just find that people are already enjoying that simple formula. But Mavericks is way more than about the formula. It's about really like doing a lot more with massively multiplayer sort of competitive gaming.
And something else that sets this game apart from other Battle Royale games is the persistent elements that players leave behind when they're walking around or using items in the map. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that sort of tracking, I mean, first of all, it's about optionality as well. Like when you're entering a building, you can siege the building, like certain experiences are made deeper by that kind of system, but Tracking is also really important because, bending grass, leaving footprint trails, and then the dynamic weather playing into how that washes away, and all those kinds of strategies, they mean that, you are interacting with players not just through shooting them. There's that sort of impact on the world that all these players are making. And that means that by having more players, you are actually building a deeper experience. Whereas if you didn't really also have that kind of dynamic world, it would just be more people you come across. Whereas in Mavericks, it's not just about coming across people, it's about making a plan based on what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I love the idea that I can find a trail of blood on the ground and track it and find somebody.
It's great. We've been playing at our booth in the concourse hall, and we were playing a session, and I came in, and there was a room where all the walls had been destroyed. And even though there wasn't a body there, I was like, okay, something really bad just happened here, and I feel incredibly unsafe because I don't know where someone is. I think the other thing that's great is having this idea of this also a persistent ecology. Right, so as something happens, typically, maybe you'll see something, but commonly you might hear something. I think it's great to then be able to have things like flocking behavior, by having birds, by having wildlife. So if someone is in a combat, you might see like the birds take off and fly away, and now you can use that also as a way to read the environment. It's like, oh, something's happening over there, not just in a general space that maybe I'm trying to hone in on.
Right. Well, Bill, my question for you now as Chief Creative Officer, I mean, what is it like to work on a cloud-based dev program that's going to let you do kind of the maximum of everything that you want to do instead of being limited by the technology?
Yeah, I mean, that's the real reason I came to Improbable from all the stuff I'd done, whether it was at Blizzard or Disney or other MMORPG companies I've been at, is there's always a technical limitation you hit, right? You're making these trade-offs. As designers, we always think reductively, right? There's always some bad engineer.
I got 3 colors.
Saying,
what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? And the manager like, no, you can't have that many people, or it can't be that big, or like the servers have to shut off, and so everything's going to reset. And being able to then now work with with great partners and developers and saying like, let's remove those limitations. Like now, what do you do if we can think expansively from design? It's really amazing, and I think it's really leading us to look at game types, and it starts with like, how could you take this but now augment it? And then leads us to ask questions that we just never asked before. Like, what is a game that if you had 10,000 people playing at the same time, that's when it truly becomes interesting and great? Like, how do we build those social structures? How do we have that type of interaction? Looking at those questions and then applying that into game design is just a fantastic opportunity.
What's the most exciting thing that you've been enabled to do with this new company for Mavericks?
I think that it's been fantastic to just be able to come up, spend some time with the team. Like they're just incredibly dedicated, like just ridiculously cool ideas on what to do in this space and how to make it very, very different. I think that like the first trip I made up to Cambridge, where the studio is, we just sat there for a day, and it was like, okay, here's all the plans. And it's like the first thing we talked about, yeah, that's this, but this is what it becomes. It's like, all right, that's super exciting. I cannot wait to play this.
Well, that's exciting to hear for someone with such an experience as yours to come into the company and see so much potential.
One of the things that I really love about games is being able to customize my character. What kind of options are you going to be offering in Mavericks?
So in Mavericks, because of also the open world, you can obtain armor, and obviously you pick it up inside of these Battle Royale sessions. But we have a 2-layer system, so you have clothing, then you have the items you wear on top of that, and we've carefully built it so these can interact really well, and you can customize all those different slots. You can also customize your base character, not in terms of spending ages on sliders,
sure.
Because we're also building quite a realistic
spending
game.
ages on sliders.
I mean, you can certainly spend a long time customizing your character, but we certainly lean towards also making sure that things look sensible. I suppose we're not trying to create crazy level of interesting proportional issues. I mean, we have to consider that we have quite realistic looking sort of clothing.
No Azeroth
armor.
shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't get through doorways.
I did love though. We saw it in the cinematic that you brought for us here in the trailer. He had a little bit of the stylish kind of epaulets of feather, side of maybe a remainder of a football shoulders, and then he had a little leatherette kind of warrior skirt.
Yeah, there are actually 4 factions in the game, plus the sort of capital faction, and they have their own very distinct styles as well. So you can mix and match from some very interesting, quite sort of detailed narrative background you have to sort of pick from when you're choosing your clothing.
Can you actually dive in a little more on the factions and what they're going to represent?
So you're on this large island which is controlled by the capital, and people are sort of, in a sense, forced to play out these games. But when you go out into the open world, you find there are rebel factions who, in their own way, their own kind of styles, are sort of rising up. And actually, although we are pretty focused on that session-based side of the game this year, every year there's a massive evolution in that game narrative. Some of it comes from what the players are actually going to be doing in the open world, so it's driven by players as well. You know, uprisings, you know, where the resources go, allying.
And these are some of the events you're talking about as well.
Yes,
right?
so there's a lot planned for the persistent open world as well as the session-based games. They do play together sort of hand in hand in the sense that you can go into a competitive session, and that world is informed by what's happening in that open world narrative. But you can also go for this more free-form format where, you know, it's not just last man standing, but, you know, still familiar systems between these two game modes.
Sure. There's actually a couple battle royales that, you know, that our friends groups like to play, and some of them have these different ways to attack sort of the same game mode. So will we be having any sort of like, you know, main players and scavengers coming in, also being able to do things for their characters and benefiting? Or are we going to, basically what I'm asking is, when we choose a game mode, are we ever going to be interacting with other game modes who are trying to play a different style in the same area?
I suppose in that sense, if you go out into the open world, you're not literally selecting a game mode. There is just a lot going on. Right. It's a very dynamic world, driven by what the players happen to be doing, with 1,000 players out there just doing different things. And so it's almost like a fluid...
Right, it's not instance portals or anything like that.
No, but we do have like smart mission systems. We're building quest systems, which mean that we can, you know, look at what's happening on the map, run really interesting algorithms also that sort of go, well, if players are doing this, we probably want more of this to happen. So we're really pushing some really interesting dynamic world systems for the open world in Mavericks. Most of that's focused on our 2019 launch, but even within the Battle Royale, I suppose we're still, you know, you don't bring items in there with you. There's a very clear differentiation with this session that it has to be, you know, competitive. It makes sense on its own. But still the map reflects, you know, an evolution over time. When we launch it, we're going to then continue updating it very regularly, you know, doing bi-weekly updates. So a big annual shift in terms of the overall world and narrative, but a lot of development along that journey.
Exciting things to come from Mavericks. James, where can we follow the game before it comes out? Where can we get it when it does come out, and how can I play it? You
can sign up now on our new website at mavericks.gg. We'll be running closed betas for a couple months starting end of August. So visit that, sign up for your account now, reserve your display name. If you do it by the end of this week, there is E3 exclusive content you'll get on launch.
E3 exclusive content, you heard them, guys. Get out there, sign up this week, get ready for Mavericks. It's going to be huge. We'll be right back with more from E3.
So I don't get distracted.
Brody, wait!
Hey everybody, welcome back to E3. I am joined now by DJ Tech Live, and between us is Earl. He is one of the designers for Indivisible, that beautiful game we just saw right there. It's an action RPG. We had some turn-based combat.
Platformers.
How do you guys define Indivisible?
It's a little hard to pin down, but we often call it like a Metroidvania / RPG mishmash hybrid
Those are popular
thing.
right now, but this looks like a totally different. We've seen a lot of them here on the stage, but but Indivisible looks really different. Why do you think it stands out so much?
I mean, a part of it is the art style. We have an amazing team of artists and concept artists that are just churning out like totally wild concepts and drawing from a lot of inspiration from a lot of places you wouldn't expect. So just visually, it ends up being very different. And just gameplay-wise, it's sort of a we've taken like an old school battle system and like mixed it with like exploration for Metroidvania and tried to incorporate a lot of the systems that we like for fighting games and a lot of the team's inspirations just kind of come together, and we've been trying to like mold it into the perfect kind of hybrid. It's very new. It's hard to compare it to things because it's weird.
It is new. It's very shiny looking. It's beautiful.
Yeah, like your team is known for Skullgirls. Shout out to that. Very nice. I mean, the art style I noticed picked off right off the bat. You guys are known for unique characters and unique stories, if that, because Skullgirls was like, whoa, I like it. You're not afraid to go anyplace. What are we looking forward to in this game when it comes to unique characters?
So let's see. It follows the adventures of Ajna, the main character. She's just a really cool. Everybody like put in their own ideas of what we wanted in a main character. And so she's got the kind of spunky like look that you can really get behind. Right. And then for all of the cast that are like supporting her as you're going through the game, just like a lot of it is we had like a big old brainstorm session of like just doing wacky character designs that we wanted. Some of it came from just like kind of a visual aesthetic that we wanted to nail, and sometimes it was like, oh, okay, we want to kind of gameplay-wise, we'd like to have like a healer character, but healers always look like this. Let's try to mix it up and see what they would look like.
Like a big brawly guy can be healing.
Yeah, exactly. So just trying to like keep it a little fresh, and just see the types of things that we don't get to see often, because those are the types of things that we're like, oh man, I'd love to see this type of thing.
Yeah, the one thing I know, Ajna.
Yeah.
I saw her. She's this cute little, very vibrant anime character with a freaking axe.
I love the axe.
Walking around, let me ask you a question. So, are there RPG elements, upgrading different weapons and stuff like that? Why the axe? Is that what her starting? Is that her starting?
That's going to be the first weapon that she picks up out of a few.
That's a tough weapon.
Yeah,
story behind that.
I mean,
without spoiling.
Sure. A lot of it is because it's a Metroidvania game, and exploration is kind of the driver of kind of getting you through the world. A lot of it is about traversal, and we were trying to think of like cool traversal abilities, and one of them that you don't really see is just scaling sheer walls, like going straight up. So the axe was a cool way to like have her like kathunk right into the wall and climb straight up.
That's so cool.
We've got another one. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Do it. Just say it.
Not gonna.
Do it.
But I will say that several of the weapons that you pick up will let you cross pits, go across ceilings.
That's
what
what a Metroidvania type.
Yeah. Another one will let you break through ceilings, break through floors, etc. So just trying to. You've seen like in Metroid, you like the doors on the floor,
some are locked in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to circle back around once you get that item.
Right.
That's awesome.
Tell me about the weapon that grows corn, because I already have a favorite character, and it was the lady that was growing corn in that battle. You had a screen cap over a minute ago.
Yeah. So her name's Nuna. She takes inspiration from like Latin American and Native American kind of agricultural
fertility
elements.
kind of guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the legends, I guess, is I don't want to botch this too bad, but the three sisters. The concept of the three sisters being corn, squash, and beans. So one of the things that she can do is she can shove her hands in the ground and do like a little sprout, and that'll grow into squash. She can summon the corn stalk, and it has like corn and the beans on it.
So different. I love it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun to like just take inspiration from those and see like how can we make this like a cool looking attack that's just kind of off the wall and crazy.
A big word that stands out is incarnations. Can you hit on that and please tell me?
A little bit.
Okay, that's great.
So
at least give me a little bit.
Yeah, so let me give you the preamble. Ajna's, so she starts out in like a really small, like village, right? And it's just a really small world for her. She hasn't really gone out into the whole world. And she embarks on her journey, and it's really a journey of like self-discovery.
Right.
And she learns the truth about herself. She's actually discovers this power that she can absorb people into herself.
Whoa.
And you find out in the story that these incarnations are, I got to be a little careful.
Okay.
They are incarnations of something that she is absorbing into herself. And the story is kind of about becoming whole. And that's what the title Indivisible, I mean, it alludes to a few things, but Indivisible is kind of like, oh, you're inseparable once you reacquire these pieces of you type of thing. Whenever we actually got this thing in the game called an inner realm, where Ajna can focus, and then you can kind of search within yourself, and you'll be able to go into
it's like an Avatar say type thing.
I'm getting so interested in the narrative of this story. That's so exciting.
It ends up functioning as like the town. So if you've played an RPG and you go into a dungeon and you have to trudge all the way back to town to go turn in all your loot and all.
Ajna just has to look within.
Yeah, she just looks within herself, and all the incarnations that she has absorbed, she can like talk to them. That's where they reside when she's not in battle. And that's where you can do all your upgrades and such.
A little Sybil kind of situation.
One thing that we hit on earlier, we have to talk about the soundtrack.
Oh, God. Oh.
Please.
Again, I want to shout him out. Hiroki Kikuta, the composer from Secret of Mana, he's back. How did you get him?
I mean, part of it was just being willing to ask. We actually, on Skullgirls,
shocking how often that works.
Yeah, it's,
you never know until you ask.
And we knew his his history, and we were trying to just like wild ideas when we were conceiving of the game. Like, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's just pick some. What are some legendary
just reach
JRPG
the highest,
controls?
just as high as we can go.
Exactly. Just who comes to mind? Oh, the Secret of Mana guy. Let's get him. And we just call him up.
Why not?
I mean,
it's like Secret of Mana guy. What do you need?
Yeah. Just looking him up in the phone book. Kikuta, that's the one.
Of Mana.
M-A. Okay.
And the stars aligned, and we were just persistent about it, and I mean, obviously the price was right, but we wanted. Part of it was. He was really excited about the project, and we were really excited about him, so that just kind of came together. So we actually, with our previous game, worked with Yamane-san. I don't remember her first name. I'm blanking. But she worked on a lot of the music for Castlevania. So we'd already had a relationship with her, and she kind of vouched for us when we were trying to.
These guys are all right. Well, I wonder, part of it was like the coming together of creatives on this game is, I wonder if he was at all, this is hand-drawn art. Like, it's, every piece of this is top tier, it feels like. So that, I see a lot of games that are similar in approach, and I don't see any that are quite coming together the way that Indivisible looks like it is.
Thank you. I mean, well, our
I haven't played it yet, but it looks
the animation
right up
looks
my alley.
Our animators are top notch. They cut their teeth working on Skullgirls, and they've done a whole bunch of other projects as well. And like I'm really lucky as on the design side where they're doing these like cool rough animations, and I'm like often one of the first people to see in the whole world like what this new character's animation looks like, and just I'm really honored to be able to be the one that like sticks into the game and makes it work. But to see the whole process unfold like is really, really cool.
Speaking on design, in Skullgirls you had an interesting character that played music while attacking the brass big band, and you could do your own custom stuff.
Oh yeah.
Did you put any kind of Easter egg in this game, or you could even just wink, wink, blink, blink?
You're gonna have to just wink, wink, blink, blink. You got 15 seconds left.
And where if you play a specific thing, something happens.
Yes.
No, but I will tell you that there is a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reference if you unlock the right thing.
Kelly, did you hear that? Well, Earl, thank you. You've done such a good job getting us so excited for this game. Where can we find out more info?
Indivisiblegame.com. Yeah, go there.
Let's do it. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Earl.
Yeah, it was
Thank you, Frank, once again. Guys, thanks for watching.
Thanks, you guys
so
are
many
best.
more games. Stay in your seats.
Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Yo.
Oh my.
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Jurassic World Evolution. And it's out now on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Everyone is talking about the biggest event of all times. Gather your companions for over 500 episodes of space operatic mystery. Starring...
Who are you?
I'm the Doctor. Doctor Who?
Don't you recognize me?
The time-traveling, shape-shifting fugitive alien from that one crazy planet with the blue police box. Oh, that Doctor Who.
Yes, yes indeed.
Watch classic Doctor Who on Twitch.
Hello everyone, Kelly Link here, E3 on Twitch, and I'm joined by Okadrian, and we have Samantha and Neil with us, showing us Dragon Quest XI, the newest addition to the Dragon Quest storyline, or the games that I should say. It's actually already out in Japan, correct?
It came out in Japan last year. We're finally getting it here in North America in September, on September 4th. It's taken us a little while. There's a lot of localization we've been working on, but there's a lot of improvements we've made to the game that weren't in the Japanese version. But let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at it.
That's got surprise viewers at home every time we're like, tight, you have some gameplay for you.
Hooray! We got a whole lot of gameplay.
A whole lot of gameplay?
A whole lot. This demo that we're diving into right now is pretty massive. You could spend hours just in this area goofing around, fighting monsters. We're going to cut it down to about 10 to 15 minutes because we're on a time crunch, but we'll try to see as much as we possibly can.
Perfect. While she plays, you're going to do the talking?
I will do my best.
Okay. I like it. So I noticed that there are some monsters that you can run over, and then there's one that you can actually engage into, so that it's like a typical JRPG. How do you know which ones that you can actually fight?
It actually depends on what you're doing with the horse. If you're dashing with the horse, you'll barrel straight through the enemies. It'll allow you to just blast over them, get from point A to point B as fast as possible. But if you want to get into a battle, you slow down, you just run right into them, and then it goes into the more classic turn-based battle that you're so used to seeing.
Are there certain monsters that you can't dash through, like really big monsters?
Nailed it.
Okay.
That's perfect. You just see one monster, like, I'll just go, oh, no mistake.
Yeah.
Then again, you kind of need that, too, because we just run around the entire time, you have to gain experience points. Right?
Exactly.
Next thing you know, you're fighting the monster that's under-leveled. And...
Yeah, while barreling through the enemies is a whole lot of fun with the horse, you don't actually get any experience for it.
Extremely satisfying.
Okay. So it's more so if you're kind of just like, you know, some players like to get to like level 100, and some players just like to play the storyline. If you don't want to have to fight every monster, you just dash through it.
Exactly. And there are no random battles as you're roaming around the open fields. Whether you're on foot or on the horse, all the monsters are roaming around. You can see them. If you don't feel like grinding and you just want to get to the next story point, you can avoid the battles and move right on.
Are there monsters that aggro you?
Yes.
Okay.
And it totally depends on your level and the level of the monster. So if you roll into an area and all the monsters are much higher level, they'll come after you, they'll try to chase you down.
Okay.
But if you come back to that same area later on in the game and you're a much higher level, they'll start running away from you to get away.
You know, there's one feature I haven't seen too often lately in RPGs, which used to be a staple, is whenever a giant world event happens in a game, you return to a previous town and there are reactions. They say things that are different, or maybe even the town looks different. That's something I think Dragon Quest does a lot of. Is that going to happen here as well?
I don't want to spoil too much.
Oh, man.
But you should check out Dragon Quest XI.
That's such a sales pitch. You should check out Dragon Quest XI to find out.
Nice. It sounds like pretty good there. The story that we're looking at here, obviously you don't want to spoil like you just said, but can you give us a little look into what we're looking at here?
Absolutely. So this is, depending on how much grinding or kind of playing around in the world that you've done, would take about 6 to 10 hours to get to in the game. It's still pretty early considering how massive the game is. I played an earlier version of the English build. It took me about 95 hours to complete without touching almost any of the side quests. Man. So there's a whole lot of game there. At this point, you don't have your full party. They're still building up. You're still getting adventurers to join you. And here it comes.
There's
a horse race.
Yep, there it is.
Yes.
There's a mini game.
I love mini games. It's just, I mean, it allows other players that like different kinds of things in their video games to really get enjoyment out of so many different stuff. If you just love RPG and combat, you can do that. But if maybe you want to explore a little more in the game, you have horse racing. What other mini games are there?
There's crafting, but it's not just crafting. There's an actual mini game component to it, which is a ton of fun. There's we haven't talked much about it, but since the game did come out in Japan, a lot of people know there's a casino.
Ooh, okay.
That's all I'll say at this point.
A little bit of gambling? Maybe?
There's a little bit of gambling.
I was going to say no, gambling never hurt anyone, but that's actually not true. So I'm not going to say that. But I'm guessing you get some really cool items too, not just like, an extra potion or something like that, but you actually get some good gear, I'm guessing, later.
There are certain items you can only get through the minigames.
That's what I'm talking about.
Nice. Oh man, so that's just gonna add another 50 hours to it though, right?
Yeah, you could just lose yourself in the casino or in the horse races, trying to get your best times. And there are tiers to the horse races. Right now, we're in the very beginning, the Bronze Cup, that goes on to Silver Cup and on and on.
Dominating the Bronze Cup too.
Killing it, first place.
Another new feature that's been added to this is the photo mode.
Yes, the first-person photo mode, exactly. That wasn't in the Japanese version. We released it here. It's really nice if you want to get a better look at the environment, better look at the monsters. You can also remove the HUD in that mode if you want to take screenshots.
Cool, and then you have a little album that you can look at. Is there a way to export those pictures at all?
It's through, if you're doing it on the PS4, you can use the PS4 share functionality.
Sweet.
Nice, I can spam my friends with photos.
There you go.
Which I plan on doing actually a lot of. I have to wonder, for people who are new to Dragon Quest, in RPGs, sometimes you have a serious look at it, and it's a serious-looking game, or even a smaller, less detailed look at it. With this kind of game, it has the appearance done by Akira Toriyama. It still has a serious tone to the game, though, right?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things where we just revealed this new piece of key art, our new box art for the Western version of the game, where it does kind of touch on some of the darker themes, this whole aspect of light versus dark, which when you first look at it, you might not think something so bright and colorful has some of these darker themes, but it absolutely does. And the development team and the writers have done a phenomenal job of balancing the sense of humor with the darker themes and the more dramatic aspects.
I just saw a little note there that says that cows can predict the weather.
Of course.
Is there a lot of
absolutely.
What other fun small things are we going to be able to find in this game?
You haven't asked cows about the weather report before?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you need to know the weather, you go up to a cow, they tell you, is it going to rain, is it going to be sunny? There's a lot of little things that you'll come across in the game.
I didn't do that.
I love that you saw that.
Yeah.
In a way.
Do they move?
There's a lot of Easter eggs that tie into to past versions of Dragon Quest. So if you know the series well and you've been a fan for many years, you're going to pick up on those things. But if you're a first timer, you've never touched Dragon Quest, you're not going to miss out on anything. You'll have just as good of a time. And even though Dragon Quest XI is the 11th entry in the mainline series, it's the perfect starting point for a newcomer. The story is entirely new, the characters are entirely new, so this is what we feel is the best possible jumping off point for someone who's never touched the franchise before.
That's awesome. I mean, to see an all new game be able to pull old and new players alike. Some of the things that maybe old players would be interested in, though, do you guys have monster recruitment?
We do not have monster recruitment, but we have lots of monsters that you can go and, I was going to use a stronger term than kill, but
you already said it.
Murder, beat, defeat,
persuade,
battle, persuade.
To stay down.
Yeah. You have a conversation. You've been causing some havoc. troubling this town. Actually, the part of the story that we're in now, there's this massive monster that's been causing some trouble. So the prince of the Sultanate of Gallopolis is headed out to defeat the monster.
Have a conversation.
Yeah, have a conversation. See if he can take him, just convince him to maybe, not be so evil.
With a game this big, do you have certain areas that, how much of it is accessible at once? Do you have a thing where you can't come this way yet, the bridge is broken for a while kind of thing?
Exactly. And when you first start out and you leave your hometown for the first time, it's somewhat linear. It wants to guide you and get you set up in the story and help you understand how the world works. At that point, it starts branching and areas start opening up. And eventually you get to a point where now you have access to this entire map and you're set out on this goal, and it's up to you to really kind of determine where to go and what to accomplish at that point. And it's a big, big world. I mean, with over 100 hours of content, there's a lot to see.
And I saw that you guys have quick movement where you can just teleport from one spot to another, so that'll help it. Definitely the traditional JRPGs style right there, in case you don't want to have to run through the entire giant map.
Exactly, and we call it Zoom.
Zoom.
Zoom is our fast travel.
Okay, good to know.
I know about that. That's actually really cool.
So with it coming to America, we're getting 2 editions, correct?
Correct.
What are those editions?
The first edition is the kind of basic standard price SKU, $59.99. That's the Edition of Light. It's our launch SKU, or launch unit, so it will be out there on store shelves right at launch, but it'll be in limited quantities. That comes with some exclusive DLC, and it also comes with a reversible cover. So it has our Western key art on the front, and on the back side of it, you can reverse it, and it has Akira Toriyama's artwork, the artwork that was used on the Japanese version of the game.
I like that.
Yeah.
And the second edition is the Edition of Light, and that's the big one. That's the
Edition of Lost Time.
I was going to say,
thank you.
I thought, did he just say
Adrian was going to call me out, but he was being polite. Samantha, she'll call me out.
You guys are friends.
It's a cutscene right now. She's not playing the game. She can pay attention.
Edition of Lost Time. That is an exclusive Square Enix store unit, and it comes with the game, actually the Edition of Light that I was talking about before, so it has the reversible cover, all the content that is exclusive to it, some extra bits of DLC that you can't get anywhere else. It has a steelbook case, it has the symphonic suite of soundtracks of all the orchestrated tracks from the game. It has an art book that includes a lot of early artwork from Akira Toriyama and his studio.
That's the good
stuff. What am I missing? It's got a nice fancy box. I'm sure I'm missing something, but if you go to dq11.com, that's dq11.com, you can see all the details.
This was out for PlayStation, but it's coming to the Switch.
It is, so on September 4th, it's coming to PlayStation 4 and Steam. We have announced that the Switch version is in development. That version hasn't even come out in Japan.
Okay.
It's so far out, we don't even have a release date. So for all of us that are itching to play Dragon Quest XI, PS4 and Steam on September 4th.
Thank you guys for joining us, Samantha and Neil and Okadrian. Guys, it is E3 on Twitch here. Don't go anywhere. We have more coming soon.
You knew it wasn't real with her. You stayed there with her, with her. But you didn't care. You stayed there with her. You stayed and she's a killer, killer.
Welcome back to E3 on Twitch. I'm Kira Corellia, joined by Ezekiel III.
Hello.
And Oliver, who is a writer at Saber Interactive. We're here today to talk about an upcoming title. And circumstantially, one of my favorite books of all time, World War Z. Now, this game is actually inspired by the movie World War Z.
Yes.
But before we talk about the game, I'm so sorry, we're going to have to talk about the book because I feel like this is my opportunity. I'm always trying to get people to read this book. This is our opportunity to get people to read it.
Read the book.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It's like a masterclass in writing.
See how good it is? So even if you're like over zombies, you're like, that's like 2006. No, this book is incredible. You have to read it.
You should have heard these nerds talking about it backstage. It made me want to read it.
I am a nerd about this. And you know what's even better than the book? Is the audiobook. Have you heard it?
I haven't.
Oh my God, it's so incredible.
Really?
It's so good. It's so good. They have like celebrities that come in and read the book and everything, and it is incredible. It really brings it to life for you. And it used to be abridged, but it's completely unabridged now. And I imagine you're going to fly somewhere very far away when you go home. Where
yes,
are you at?
I live in Liverpool in England.
You know, that sounds like the perfect thing to do on the airplane.
It's an 11-hour flight, so that'll get me part of the way through the book, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you get home, you'd be super pumped about this book, World War Z. You'll be even more excited about your game.
Okay.
And now we can talk about the game.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we sold a couple books there. You're welcome, Amazon. So let's go ahead and talk about World War Z, inspired by the movie, but are we going to see little touches of the book in there? Maybe a couple little references?
So we've gone for the movie license.
Okay.
Because it's so fitting to a zombie game. You know, you've got massive numbers of zombies moving very quickly, as you can see on the screen there. And so for a game, that's really where we want to be looking. Whereas the book, it's very slow zombies, as you know. So we've chosen to stick more to the movie universe, but what we loved so much about the book is the way it tells the story. You get a picture of this entire war, this period in history, through the eyes of many different people all around it. So we've gone for a similar thing with the game.
I love that.
Yeah. So we have, in the release, the initial release, we have 3 episodes, and each episode deals with a different group of survivors. So there's 12 characters in total in the game.
That's fantastic.
All playable. And we've got an episode in Moscow, Russia. We've got an episode in Jerusalem, Israel, and an episode in New York City.
Oh, it makes me so excited. I have to explain. I'm so excited because, you know, these are very, very pivotal moments in the book that take place in the places you've mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've set in those locations.
Cool, good.
Now, this game is 4-player co-op.
Yes.
And anytime that something else has a byline that's similar to another game, it gets compared to it. So Left 4 Dead 2, or Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, the series, is also 4-player co-op with zombies and that kind of stuff. Tell us the difference that this game makes.
You've mentioned the similarities, 4-player co-op and zombies.
Yep.
Beyond that, we've gone a very different direction. As I've already said, we deal with massive numbers of zombies in this game. So you'll be facing 500 at a time, with just 4 of you holding out against them. It's third person as well. And it's more of there are strategic elements to it which are completely new to the zombie genre. So when you're facing these zombies, you're going to have the opportunity to build up defenses from scavenged defense kits that you find lying around. And you've got limited resources, so you can't just build whatever you want.
Okay.
So you've got to think on your feet, grab what you have, and then place it around the environment as best you can. And then grab heavy weapons and just face massive numbers as they come pouring in. Some environments are closed, and so you want to use them in a certain way. Other environments, there's a scene in Moscow, a huge frozen river right outside the Kremlin, completely undefendable, and you've got to do what you can to hold your ground.
So what kinds of
and
weapons?
No pills in our game.
No pills?
Yeah.
How about puke?
Yeah, no comment.
There might be some puke.
What kinds of weapons can we expect to be using in this game?
We have really gone for it with the weapons. There's a huge number. You've got 3 classes of weapons. You've got your primary, your secondary, and your heavy. Primary weapons, we've got something for everybody. We've got assault rifles, we've got shotguns, we've got sawn-off shotguns, we've got crossbows with exploding tips, no less. And we've got SMGs, a variety of different of those weapons. Secondaries, we've got silenced pistols, sawn-off double-barrel shotguns, and then heavy, we've got rapid-fire combat shotguns, RPGs, heavy machine guns. We've gone for as much as we possibly can.
You actually, like, with your cadence, your speech pattern, and your accent, you sound like you could be like a nefarious like weapons dealer. Like you like opened the trunk and you were just listing off all the stuff you have for sale and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Have
Very
you seen
good.
that scene in Taxi Driver where he goes to buy a gun? He's like, "It's a very nice gun. I got this gun. I got this." That's me now.
Nice. All right. I'll be Travis Bick.
Okay. That's scary, but yeah. Okay, let's do it.
All right.
So the hordes of zombies in this game, I think it's very, very unique because, like in the movie,
Yeah.
they're going to just be constantly running over each other, and that means that they could be piling on top of each other and
Yes,
then
indeed.
running over the pile. So you know they'd be able to maybe possibly reach you on the second floor,
Yeah.
where you think you're perfectly safe.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's a really interesting thing to bring to this genre, especially. I mean, we're pretty much getting used to fast
You can
zombies.
see right there, they're actually pyramiding up
There it
now.
is. Oh my God.
And climbing the
That's-
walls.
To me, that is terrifying. If I was playing this
Yeah.
game, I don't know.
Well, it's great because the guys have put such an enormous amount of work into the physics system that governs those zombies and how they move. And so you're never safe anywhere. There's nowhere to hide. They will climb the walls, they'll climb over buildings. And actually, when we were designing the zombies, we put a lot of thought into the psychology of the zombie. Because, of course, they have no fear. They're not like another enemy where you can break their morale. They're not afraid of their own, they're not afraid of injuring themselves. So if they see you, they will throw themselves from the rooftops. They will climb through burning cars. They'll do anything to get to you and they won't stop.
No, that's one of the awesome things that we were talking about before we got on stage here was the zombie AI and how they work and stuff like that. And I've always liked the idea better of an intelligent or a more like a hunter zombie. Also, can we call them Zeeks?
We can call them Zeeks.
By the way, zombies are
Zeke.
sometimes called Zeeks in this game and in the books and the movies and stuff. So let's call them Zeeks from now on. You heard it here. Anyway, no, I love that the idea of hunting. Like they're trying to eat you for food or trying to procreate, which are like the two basis instincts of any living thing.
There's no zombie procreation in our game, I'm afraid to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm afraid there's.
Oh, that's what I meant. I didn't mean like making love.
Okay.
I meant like biting and turning.
Transmission. Okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay, right. I see. Okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter, man. Come on.
Like, what can I do?
Oh my goodness.
No, because it looks like they flow like a ant hive.
Yes.
Or ant hive. Ant colony.
Yeah,
there you go.
an ant colony, yeah.
An ant hive, whatever.
Yeah, sure. Let's make some metaphors.
Sure. But yeah, it looks like they like work like
Yes,
that, like
they do.
they swarm.
They're not just 500 kind of independent individuals. They respond as a swarm, and so they will move and flow, not just with. I mean, when they see you, they'll move towards you the best way they can. But if there's a wall in the way, they'll pyramid up and try and get over the top of each other and over the edge. But also, a lot of them, if you shoot them and they collapse in front of you, the ones behind will just trample over the top of them.
Just to get to you.
Exactly, just to get to you. And I can tell you, when you're standing there and the only thing you've got is you've run out of primary ammo and you've just got your silenced pistol and you've got 300 zombies coming towards you, it's pretty damn scary.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be me, obviously, because I've never been very accurate. I've always been a spray and pray kind of guy.
Yeah.
But thankfully, you said there's a myriad of weapon choices, so
yes,
I can be the heavy guy.
Yes, you can.
Like,
yeah.
not
Well,
just the heavy guy, but
there's we've got character development, so you've got progression. And as you build up experience, you can develop your character. You specialize in a class. You have a skill tree. You've got weapon progression as well, so you're customizing your weapons and building up on that. So there's just so much room for growth in the game.
Can you tell us more about the characters? Are these player created or are these specific characters that you've written?
Yeah, so we've written these characters. We've put a lot of thought into their backstories. What I like so much about the book is there's a lot of normal people who survived in the war because of characteristics they already had. We've gone down the same route. So in the New York episode that we're demoing, you've got Arnetta Larkin, who she's a woman. She's doing cable rigging for a power company. And she's just trying to get home to her kids to see if they're still alive. We've got Tashawn Collins, who is a firefighter, was a firefighter. We've got Bunko Tatsumi, who's a very intelligent computer hacker. She knew about this just before it broke out because she hacked into defense.
Oh, yes. Ooh.
And then we've also got Angel Flores, who was an ex-gang member, tried to clean up his act and then got dragged into this. So Yeah, they're really cool characters. They're fully voiced by professional actors, so yeah.
This sounds incredible. And I love the way that you've been able to replicate the zombie movement from the movie. I think that was one of the things, I think, honestly, that was the thing that they really pulled off the best was just that terrifying movement of those zombies. I mean, usually you see these shambling zombies in the movies, and they definitely used to be scary, but, you know, now that zombies are running and they're running over each other to get to me, like, that is terrifying.
It absolutely is. I mean, like I was saying before, like, I can't stand a zombie that's stopped by a chain link fence.
Yeah.
Ours
are electrified, so that holds them back for a minute.
Okay, well, that's a different story.
Yes, it is.
If it's electrified, but if they're just like, you know, they can't do this to like a handle.
No.
You know,
yes,
or
exactly.
climb over it and stuff
Ours
like that.
will break through windows. They'll run through fire. They won't stop for anything. Well, what we thought about with a zombie, what is it? It's a virus that's infected the body and it's hyped them up. It's put the adrenaline on overpower, cut off the thinking brain, and it's just food, food, food. So there's no fear. All they want to do is eat.
Is it now? Are the 4 characters? You said there's 16.
12 in total.
characters.
Yeah, in the initial release.
Okay, so you move from place to place and play these different characters as you go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's 2 modes to the game. You've got the co-op campaign, which we've seen here, and there's another mode which we're not telling anyone about yet, but it's a very different kind of gameplay.
Ooh.
So you have a bit more freedom there. But yeah, in each episode, you choose a character, but the character progression doesn't stick with the character, so when you switch to the new episode, you keep all of your developments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How do these characters relate to the movie? Like
They're not in the movie. What we wanted to do is instead of interfering with the film, we wanted to follow on in the same universe. So that gives us much more freedom.
Okay.
And so they're very unique. They're not in the book. They're not in the movie. They're our own creation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they make references to any events in the movies, or is it just like they were like, just use our rules and our setting and go crazy?
We tip our hat plenty of times in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this something that you can play by yourself? Is there some sort of matchmaking to fill in the other characters?
So in the co-op campaign mode, you can either team up with buddies and play, you can get matchmaking with strangers, or you can play on your own with AI bots. So.
And before we finish up, I'd love to know which of the locations is your favorite?
I think Russia.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a dark story, really dark story. And it's very cool.
Absolutely. Gosh, I think I have to read the book again.
I highly recommend it.
I feel like this is the book I've read more than any other book in the entire world, and I love it so much. And I'm so glad that I had this opportunity to get some corroboration here from somebody else who says that the book is amazing.
It's fantastic, phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to checking out World War Z, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC in 2019.
That's right.
For
what day? What specific exact day is it coming out?
I know, but I'm not going to share that information with you.
You do really though?
Oh
my God! So you do know the day. All right.
For anyone who would like to check out more information about this, where can they find some?
There's worldwarzgame.com, or we're all over YouTube, so yeah, keep your eyes open.
Excellent. Well, Oliver, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And
thank you very
Zeke,
much.
Thank you so much for sitting with me when we talked about a little World War Z. Stay tuned. We're coming right back with more live content here from E3 on Twitch.
Do you really wanna love me that like you say you do? Give it to me like you say you do. Cause it's home enough
Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Yo.
Oh
my.
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Alex, and I'm a science communicator here on Twitch.tv. I am so excited to be a part of the Doctor Who marathon that will be airing over the next few weeks. A lot of these topics come up in my own stream because we talk about astronomy, astrophysics, yes, even time travel. If you could travel in time, where would you go? There's so many wheres and whens. If you like these kind of topics, make sure to follow my stream. I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Take it off, the feeling's gone. We land at this point again. First you played, and now it's lost. Like you never wanted anything. Watching as the colors blend, but it still won't mean an end. Maybe what we never knew then, 'cause we are fighting for a different ride, but we still can't see the light.
welcome back to E3 on Twitch. I'm Anna Prosser-Robinson, your host. Super excited to be here with Seltzer Please and our friend Daniel to talk about Super Mario Party, which we were already doing quite a bit because we're very excited to talk about it. We're glad that you are joining us, though, because we have so much to say about Mario Party. One of my favorite series, something that I've brought my friends together around for years and years.
Together or apart? I mean, how does that really?
Yeah, there's a 4-star stolen game that we still talk about, so.
Oh, wow.
Dark days. But it's coming to Switch now.
Yes.
We have so much to talk about. So tell us, what's going to be new in Super Mario Party?
So for the new one for the Nintendo Switch, it's going back to more of its original roots, and you're now moving individually. So each character moves individually, you're not in a vehicle anymore. You get to move separately from each other. And a bunch of new mini games that take advantage of the Nintendo Switch controller different ways. That you actually can do like frying pan mechanics, like cooking meat and stuff like that as well. And right now we'll show they have a mini game running right here now. This is one of the mini games you can play, kind of like a gridiron thing where you're trying to survive for 30 seconds. You can push the other guys around, you can push each other around, and whoever's the last person standing wins. Right now we have people playing in the back for us right now, a bunch of folks from Nintendo kind of seeing if they can survive.
This is great.
And it gets more frantic, obviously, it keeps going faster and faster. It gets closer to the end to see who can make it to the end. And then we'll jump to the board just in the next 5 seconds after that ends. But then what's cool also when we jump to the board in a second is that each character now, beyond just rolling a dice block like normally used to, has a special character dice block.
Really?
And they're all different. So it could be different numbers. It could be like some of the rolls give you coins or movement, like risk reward. One could be like you get 0 movement or 10. So it's kind of deciding what you need to do in that.
So the characters actually have strategy to them? Like there are different, interesting. So I may have to choose a character that's not my go-to if I want a certain
if you want the dice block.
advantage.
But the cool part of the dice block too is, like right now you can see right here, there's Bowser right now choosing his dice block. He has 2 options, regular dice block 1 through 6, or his personal dice block, which is 2 -3 coins, 1, or 8, 9, 10. So it's a big risk reward game to play off that one. There's even items available in this one, like a coin. He's trying to setting up the Coinado.
Well, I know, when choosing different characters to play as in Mario Party, you want to take selections that you take into account when you play the minigames sometimes, the heavier, slower guy or a faster, more agile character. Those are things that, when I'm picking my character, I think of. But now you added the dice block to this. Are we going to have opportunities to maybe swap around who gets what dice block?
Yes, actually, there's a way to do it. So right now, if there's a little square that has like an ally on, and there's the ally spot. Allies you can get joined onto. If you get the one on the spot, you get an ally. So one of the characters that have not been chosen can become your ally. So to become your ally, when you get to the mini games, in the mini game side, the ally will actually be controlled by the computer and help you out. But on the board, what the ally will do, actually, Luigi right now is calling an ally right now. So ally calls Yoshi in. So Yoshi's now the ally. Now that Luigi's called in Yoshi, Yoshi's dice block is now an option you can have. So now he can choose the regular dice block, the Yoshi dice block 1, 3, 3, 5, 7, or Luigi's dice block.
And he's chosen Yoshi in the midst of a game here. I don't have to lock in my ally initially, right? Or did he already?
No,
he chose that off screen.
It's actually when you make the call, it's a random.
Oh, so you don't know who's going to show up.
Who you're going to get. It's random, but you can see who's available. It's random. But even when you do have an ally, though, the ally gets to roll like a 1 or 2, 3.
See, this is the stuff that ruins the friendships, man.
It does. It does.
So yeah, so right now we already jumped in a little further in the game. Like we went a few turns in and gave some people some items to just kind of help highlight these things as well. But what's cool too, also right now, Koopa Trooper's moving around over to where Bowser is. What's cool too, when we get back to the map in a second, we can see if we can actually show some other stuff from the map itself, where it gives you better understanding of what each square is, how many spaces can you still go, what kind of your goals are. So it's kind of a nice way to help out, and quality of life things that make the game a little bit more enjoyable in that regard.
Speaking of quality of life, just looking at this, it looks so beautiful. Tell us about bringing Mario Party to the Switch and the opportunities.
Yeah, no, it's just seeing the game, graphically, it just looks awesome. Seeing the detail that's in there, and just seeing the game come to life in this new kind of fresh color. Fresh coat of paint kind of scenario, looking really nice. But even being able to play it at home or on the go, having those 2 options is really nice. You can just take it with you, and then mostly we'll just play with just this Joy-Con controller. So right off the bat, you have 2 players you can just play with just from the beginning without having to worry about anything else.
Do you have a mini game with this mechanic?
The N60. No, there are no mini games right now that do that.
You mean the blister palm mechanic?
My Stigmata from Nintendo.
That is so true. Yeah, I remember playing that when I was a kid too. So yeah, I remember that when I was younger, just playing that game a ton and just like really trying to do that. But yeah, this time it's taking more advantage of those motion controls. Like as I said, there's a tricycle game where you actually have to move the controller like this. There's one, it's a frying pan game where you're holding a cube of meat, and you actually have to like subtly move it to cook it all sides to flip the cube of meat. But the trick is if you do too hard, the cube falls out. You have to start all over again. These are free-for-all games, and there are some games that are 1 versus 3, 2 versus 2, depending on how the situation goes up. So like right now we're jumping into one. It is a free-for-all mini game, I believe. Yep, they're all in blue squares. So we'll see what we get. It's random, so I don't know what we're gonna get either. Snack attack.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Snack attack. So snack attack will be, they will have these like little glasses on their heads and they're trying to collect popcorn.
And not boulders.
Not boulders. But they can push each other around. You can see they can push each other around a little bit. So you're trying to fight for space and get the bigger chunks of popcorn because that's worth more. And whoever has the most.
And so when you're using the controller here, is this a normal?
Yep.
Okay, so this is a sideways.
Yeah, just holding it sideways, kind of the good old like kind of classic controller style where you're kind of moving around.
It's reminiscent of what was it, Mario Party 8 that was on the Wii?
Yep.
But similar, very, very similar,
so
like
fun.
a lot of motion and a lot of the
motion like that.
controller. Yeah.
But it's lovely because the motion control is so much more sensitive in the
I was
Joy-Con
gonna
control.
say.
Like when I talk about that flipping the frying pan, I'm talking like subtle. You're trying to do those subtle turns to get the meat to turn. So it is really sensitive and takes advantage of that a lot.
Very cool.
Well, one of the things we saw in the preview that you brought for us from Nintendo Treehouse was the moving around physically of the Switch on the table and how that affects gameplay.
Yes. So this is a different mode which we have here, which if we want to switch to this camera here, we can show us a little bit more. This is called Toad's Rec Room. Toad's Rec Room offers several different kind of different gameplay experiences. We showed two in the video. One is called Shell Shock Deluxe, where you're kind of playing with tanks. And another one is called Mini League Baseball. But what we have here is one called Banana Split. And the idea is that you simply have to match these up and then kind of move your finger.
You done did it. Wow.
Yes, that was the start. That's the kind of calibration of it. I did it, yes. Thank you so much. So the goal is to get as quickly as possible in 30 seconds, or in whatever time you can, is try to match these up and see if you can get 5 of them done, how quickly you can do that. So it's kind of trying to figure out what
I was like, how is this going to get hard? But now I understand.
No. So like, and if it's not matched up, whoops. Oh, I'm actually getting this all right. This is really good. Like here's like on purpose a mistake. So you get an X. So you're trying to figure out which is the quickest way to make each one kind of connect in each way, and you're trying to get 5. And I'm trying to.
The functionality has improved so much since my Game Boy Advance.
Yes. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this one. I'm probably. There we go. And it's doing this all through wireless connection, so that's kind of how it's controlling all this. So I finished it, and it basically says that I got a record, new record, so 30 seconds and 30 seconds. So the idea would be that if I play this now, I would pass it on to you, to it as well. What's cool though, also in the other ones like Shell Shock Deluxe, you actually can set how you want the map to look. So based on how you line these up, will determine
that was so
the
interesting.
map.
They were like, give it some corners, and they moved it.
Yeah, they moved it, and that sets the stage. You have to make sure there's at least one pathway, and then you use the Joy-Con controller, and you kind of each control that way. And then the mini baseball league is similar to that aspect as well.
So that Toad's Rec Room is a collection of mini games then.
It's a different kind of setup. It's a different mode that'll be there for people to actually check out and see what the gameplay is like regarding these kind of games, and we'll have more to talk about in the future.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love the idea of sitting down and playing. We already were at brunch the other day, and we all pulled out our Switches, so this would have been the perfect conclusion to that.
I know. We were saying, I mean, in the trailer, I believe it shows doing this while camping. I was like, that's the dream.
Oh, yeah. You're out camping in nature, but you know what? I got my
Party.
Switch.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yes.
So any really fun tidbits that people might not have noticed that you could point out that are like, oh, here's a really cool item, here's a really cool mechanic that's new, anything that you think is just really neat that people might not have seen so far in the video?
The Koinana was really cool, which we showed a little bit ago. Well, we'll show right now in a second when we get at this one. Is we get to the last person's turn and show a map. So we can show the map real quick here with Peach and get a better idea of what this looks like. So hopefully get the map to come up. And what's cool here when you see this is that now you actually can see exactly how the board is laid out, what the pathways are, so you can start planning out your path.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. The lines make all the difference.
Yeah, no, they do, because sometimes you don't know which way you can go versus you can't, so it actually moves around that. And there's actually the Womps are in the way. So the Womps actually, it was showing the pathway with the Womps blocking. But now you can even identify what each square is. You can go around, so what's a plus square, so you don't know what an event space is. It'll tell you what these are. So when you're first time playing or trying to learn this, or anyone who's new can jump in and try to understand what's happening, and that's a little bit different from the past ones before.
When we got this overhead view of the map, it takes me back to like Peach's birthday cake and like certain other themed events.
Yes.
Like, is there a consistent theme for the maps here? Are we going to go a couple different themed worlds?
There are a couple so we've only shown this map so far. Let's stay tuned for more. But the idea is like this has a theme to it too. It kind of has that feel of like the swamps being in there. And even if they get on that main pathway in the upper area, if they hit the event, actually a boulder will come down. So there's that interaction. Those events
really
will interact and like make Indiana Jones reminiscent of. But yeah.
Well, I'm so excited to play. When can people expect to hear more and get their hands on it?
More to come, obviously, between now and launch. The game will be launching on October 5th.
Great.
So we're really excited for that one. I'm excited. It'll be a fun one to play with a bunch of friends and see how that plays out.
Just in time for TwitchCon. So
yeah,
let's have a couple challenges.
You'll see us on the sidewalk with our Switches out.
We'll be training.
Or screaming at each other, trying to play Stealing
We're
Stars.
so friendly.
Even when she steals 4 stars away.
I know where I am.
Flying.
But thank you so much, Daniel. It's been a pleasure. Cannot wait to get my hands on Super Mario Party, and I bet you can't either. Don't go anywhere because we have lots more coming your way here from E3 on Twitch.
to go, but I don't know if it's worth it. Oh, it's always the wrong day to show, and I don't know where to go now, go now, go now. Where to go now, go now, go now. No way of knowing where to go.
E3 on Twitch. We were gone just a moment. I'm still here with Daniel. We brought in Kira Karelia to help us host because we're going to talk more about another game on the Switch. We're going to talk about Overcooked 2.
Yes.
Another favorite party game of mine. Super stoked to hear what's going to happen in Overcooked 2. We've played a ton of Overcooked 1 in kind of the Twitch Studios world, and always a good time.
Always friendly, right? Always friendly.
No. Listen, I can't play this game anymore with my husband because I get too impatient and I get too bossy, and it is just not good for our marriage. So as much as I'm looking forward to Overcooked 2, I know my husband is not.
There's some new features now. You can throw food at each other.
I know,
to
I'm
make
so
it even
excited
easier.
about that. Now I don't have to yell at him, go get the tomato!
Yeah.
I can just throw it at him.
Or he'll throw them at you.
No.
Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, tell us a little bit about the new features because well, actually, let's back up. Let's say someone has never heard about Overcooked ever.
Yes.
What is it?
So Overcooked is a game where up to 1 to 4 players can play together. Ideally, with more players, more fun, in my opinion. But the goal is to work together to create these different dishes to complete the stage, and you get ranked based on how well you do that, which could be like in this case right here, they're making pasta on air balloons. So to make pasta, you have to take out tomatoes, prep them by dicing them, throw them into the frying pan to cook them, and at the same time, someone has to be boiling the pasta. Someone has to grab pasta to the pots to boil, and there's a little timer on each of them. So you're trying to complete all these orders, which you can see in the upper left corner, as quickly as possible. The goal of all,
It's a crazy time management game, but like times 100. You know, I used to play a lot of these types of games where, you know, you have a little restaurant and the people come in and you have to do all these things in a certain order to serve them their spaghetti. But this is a lot.
There's a
but in a good way.
Yeah.
Yes, like you can see these right now, they're and I'm sure they're back there yelling at each other playing. But they're basically trying to work together as best they can to make all these dishes happen. And then you have to wash the dishes even. So it's all about time management, who's doing what, who's running around, yelling at each other, trying to understand what each person's trying to accomplish.
While the kitchen is moving.
While the kitchen's moving, that's part of the fun of it too, is that the kitchen is always changing, so the kitchen becomes that other layer of the puzzle, and understanding how that kitchen works and really how best to work through all of that.
As a communication science nerd, this is one of my favorite games because just listening to people try to communicate about what they want the other to do, there's a lot of like, the thing, you know, that kind of stuff. So tell us now, what's new in Overcooked 2? What are we going to see?
Yeah, so the big things are new kitchens, new chefs, all that. More Kevin. I know people love Kevin the dog from the Onion King, the little puppy hanging out there. The big one is the throwing mechanic. So here you actually can throw food to another player. You actually can throw food into the pot. So I will see if we can get one of these guys. Yeah, you actually can throw food into something.
That's interesting.
It falls on the floor, that's fine. You can pick it back up, put it back in anyways. People eat it and they'll be happy.
Is something on fire there?
In the middle, there's something that's kind of that's actually keeping the hot air balloon in the air.
Oh, okay. I thought it was food. I was like, oh
fire
no.
can still happen in this game. You still can overcook something, burn it, and cause a fire to happen inside the area like before. Grabbing the fire extinguisher, putting it out, having to dump the overcooked food away, going in all those directions that way.
Oh,
now
no,
you can, someone just fell off the stage.
Oh no!
And something's about to and in that time frame, something's about to catch on fire.
There it is.
And they saved it. They saved it just in time. Just in time, saved it. Nowhere to put it, and they need to put limiting space. Now
put it right back on.
Now they put it back on. I think they're
Good
letting
job,
us see the fire.
Sure.
Now it's on fire. Now he's nowhere to put. The green's trying to. Now they're trying to run around trying to save everything. There also are emoticons, so they can actually emote fear, or they can emote not fear, but if you bring up the emoticon from somebody, we can bring up the emoticon menu. There are some different emotes you can actually call up, use that as a way of just communicating how you feel.
I mean, if you feel strongly enough to take away the time from your cooking to emote, right?
Something new in this version too is online multiplayer.
Yes, there is online multiplayer for the first time, so you'll be a chance to play with your friends at home or away. Doesn't matter how you want to do that. So yeah, there'll be online so people can play that way as well.
I recommend not playing with close friends because this can damage relationships. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
No, I've definitely had people, we've gotten into yelling. And you say communication, yeah, I've heard people yelling before. It's even fun, actually, one of the friends we played with, I played with earlier, before coming to E3, he actually used to work in a kitchen.
Oh, really?
So, and he actually used to do the line order cooking.
So he has like the lingo too?
But he was spitting out the lingo. We're like, what are you, but he stopped and explained the lingo, and it actually starts working really well.
That's amazing.
But it was fun. I'm like, so maybe I can work in a kitchen. I don't know. But it was fun hearing him start doing the shorter cook stuff like you hear when you like watch any of the cooking shows, like, one fish, one salmon, blah, blah, blah. You're like, and he's calling out the orders, and everyone's just working efficiently. They didn't do so well this round.
Uh-oh.
And
A lot of pressure.
Kevin's not very happy.
Oh,
They don't like a chef.
Oh.
There's a kitty chef. Oh yeah, and then for the Nintendo Switch version, there actually will be an exclusive chef for the Nintendo Switch, which is a platypus.
A platypus.
So a cute little platypus. They haven't shown what it looks like
my
yet. There will be a
goodness.
platypus for people to check out.
That's still a secret, huh? We don't get to see that?
Wait, we don't. No, you can't see it. We don't have it in the game yet. But there are a lot of. There's like I saw there's like an eagle chef. There's all these different cool looking chefs that you can check out so far. And the map should look familiar to people as well.
Yes.
So now, actually, this is actually a really great stage to show the throwing mechanic, if I remember correctly.
Oh, awesome.
Here, this is the one that has two separate balloons. We actually have to pass food from one section to the other.
That is, I have like flashbacks to the first game when you're on the freeway and you've got the two trucks that are like passing each other and you have to cook on the trucks. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, so actually this is only a single one. So, but there is another one balloon where actually there's two separate areas, and actually you have to pass the food back and forth. You have no option.
Kind of feel like crying right now. Like, I don't want to play that stage.
If you're afraid of heights, this one is a challenging one.
Yes, so actually,
Get a little bit of vertigo.
I'm gonna see if someone can just throw some food around a bit and then see what it looks like to actually throw food, just to get the essence of it.
Can you throw it after it's chopped, or can you?
You
Only
can throw anything. You can throw anything. Anything that's not on a plate.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, you can't throw plates. I guess
you can't throw plated food.
That's fair for the restaurant.
I don't know. It's like a frisbee.
If you notice, there's a fire starting to happen that's kind of burning. But
no, that's true.
But there's no fire extinguisher.
Oh no.
On this one. So this kitchen actually works a little differently. What's going to happen in about as everything starts catching on fire?
Oh no.
It's going to start eventually getting stormy, and if I remember correctly, I think this one might actually crash.
Oh no! What? The kitchen crashes?
The kitchen might actually crash. Yeah, see, they're floating into a storm. They're floating literally into a storm.
Oh my goodness!
While they're trying to make right now salads, I don't know why people want just cabbage or lettuce on their plates. Right, you can see in the upper corner, those are the orders in the upper left corner. People just want
we're falling.
Plates of lettuce.
Oh no!
But they are falling. Yes, you notice that they're falling very quickly.
Wow. This is. I feel like we're going to Oz now. Like, this is pretty intense, actually.
Yeah, and you hear the music too. The music is pretty intense too. Everything that's happening, that's what's going on, and they're trying to right now. You can see they're all trying to run around serving as much. Oh, and they're getting some orders wrong, which is bad.
Oh, and now the kitchen starts moving. Excellent.
The kitchen is always moving, and the fire spots all start becoming blocking point. They can't run through.
Oh,
so the fire keeps kind of burning up as they're trying to.
Oh, so they can't even get to serve the food.
No, right, yeah. And as I'm shifting again.
Oh no.
Cleaning dishes. I really hope I wish we could hear back there, because I'm sure they're yelling at each other right now to make this thing happen. And who's doing what, who's grabbing things, and you can dash into each other, start running in. Yeah, everyone's just going everywhere trying to serve food.
So you said that the fires can't be put out in this level.
There's no fire extinguisher.
Right, and so that's related to the storm somehow?
The storm, yeah, I guess the storm making everything wave around, and they crash.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But now when they crash, the kitchen has changed. They now they crash into a different kitchen, so they have to cook different food.
Keep cooking. Oh my gosh.
Cooking. But there's a fire extinguisher now.
Okay, good. So they can put out the fires, and now they're making sushi?
Yes, I think this is the sushi. Yeah, so once they get some, right now they're still on the salad orders, but in a second you can see there's like that in the bottom left corner. There's that rice.
Yes.
They have to start making rice, and there's fish on the upper conveyor belt. They have to grab there to prep the fish to start making the sushi, and then even on there on the right is the actual seaweed they'll be using to wrap that.
Which reminds me that there are brand new recipes in this one.
Yes, sushi is one of those. Yes, sushi is one of those. Pasta with the cooking of they keep making new recipes, and we'll be checking all those out.
This is dedication. You can just crash your air balloon, find yourself still with orders of salad to fulfill, and you just keep cooking.
I mean, I'm not entirely clear how you're serving salad from a hot air balloon to begin with.
Yeah, where's that? Who's getting the order? Where is it
Yeah.
going to?
I'm not a chef, you know. I can't. I don't know.
I don't know what happens to the food after it leaves the kitchen. It's just
That's
gone.
not my concern.
Right? Yeah, that's awesome.
As long as they bring the plates back.
I want to ask, because this is obviously we're here on Twitch. We're sitting with a full-time streamer. You know, tell us a little bit about how this game, especially with the multiplayer online mode now, might be something that streamers would enjoy. How do you recommend people play it together? You know, any thoughts on that?
Well, right now, we've announced that mode exists. We'll have to wait for more information to see like how what will be beyond that, how people communicate, all those things. That's not stuff we revealed. The dev team, Team 17, who made the game, they will be talking about that later on.
Cool. That's something I think about a lot, just the usefulness of a multiplayer game that will create entertainment like that. Do you think, Kira?
Absolutely. Honestly, I get bad when I play Overcooked. Like, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, it's bad. I don't think I can stream Overcooked. I have to play this in my own home with privacy. Like, nobody can see it because it is bad. It's not regular,
You could live stream you and your husband playing together.
Oh my gosh. I think people might like call the police and just be like, she is verbally abusing him.
You know,
this is not okay.
What if he might lash back?
That's true.
It's
Maybe
important
step
to know
up.
as a streamer where your rage threshold is. So this is good that we've had this talk.
This
Kira.
is it.
They
Yeah,
got 3
this
stars.
is it for me.
I mean, there are 2
Oh,
mics.
you know they crashed.
They didn't crash. They got 3 done. They got 3 of those.
That's incredible.
3-star. You notice there are 2 mics. They had 2 mics cooks. I think the mics cook might be new. I can't remember. And they keep unlocking new mics as you play. New cooks, not mics. New cooks as you keep progressing through the game.
So in the last game, you could have 2 people playing on one controller to control the different chefs. I'm going to assume with the tiny little Switch Joy-Con
Yeah,
that's...
the advantage of the Joy-Con, you can slide them out, so you have the advantage that by default each person has one. You can play on themselves. Yeah, no, each one person has a Joy-Con controller.
That's
Makes it a lot easier. You know, like that. Yeah, it has the one control stick right there, real easy to play.
Love it.
It's also awesome about the game is that, as you mentioned, people who get really into it, who know it well, but people who've never played, it's really easy because basically it's just one button is to pick up and throw, one button is to prep, and then you move around. That's all you really have to know to build into the game and keep building out from there. So it's just easy to that one. Yeah.
And this is something that could be played because of the functionality of the Switch. We could play it on a large screen, but I assume we could also play.
You can play in tabletop.
Great.
Heck yeah, play in tabletop.
Awesome.
So at the bar, if you're like, oh, let's play
Yeah.
some games real quick while you're waiting or waiting in line somewhere, you have all these options to mess around with. You do what you want.
If you feel like making a scene in public, you know. This is great. Thank you so much, Daniel. Where can people follow along, learn more, make sure they're up to date on the news?
Oh, Team 17 is the developer of these guys. Nintendo will putting, I'm sure we'll have information on Nintendo.com. The game comes out August 7th, so it's not too long to wait. It'll be out soon. And again, the Switch version has the exclusive Platypus, so be check it out as well.
And if they're not playing on Switch, where else could they get the game?
The other consoles, I think it's going to be on Xbox and PlayStation will be as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I think possibly PC, but I would check with the development team on that. I know what the Switch version. That's where my focus is supposed to be. I'm on the Switch version, so yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming by. This has been so fun. I cannot wait to get my hands on Overcooked 2. I know that you can't either. Don't go anywhere because we have lots more games coming your way from E3 on Twitch right after this.
I will keep fighting with broken walls, nowhere to fall, but I will keep climbing. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by sharks, be clad over me. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by sharks, be clad over me. Just take me home, just take me home. Now the sky is falling, don't let it fall, don't let me go. Now the sky is falling. surrounded by shadows, be cloud over me. I can't see, I'm in the dark, surrounded by shadows, be cloud over me. Now the sky is falling down, 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 down.
Trespasser, you have 5 seconds to leave the premises. 5, 4, 3.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Here I am, Ezekiel III, sitting with my friend, Mr. DJ Tech Live, and also to my left, right here, the man in the middle, Mr. Mark. How are you doing, man?
Hi, I'm doing fine.
Would it be fair to say that you are with the bearded ladies?
I am with the bearded. Yeah, well, okay, yeah. I work with the bearded ladies.
He works with the bearded ladies. They are the dev team behind this game, Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden.
Yes.
First of all, let me say the trailer that we just saw is fantastic.
Absolutely.
The look, the design, everything. Tell us a little bit about your game.
Okay, our game is a tactical adventure. That's what we call it. It's a mixture between, a blend between tactical combat and adventuring. Yeah,
Okay.
real-time adventuring.
When you say tactical, the first thing I think about, I mean, and a lot of people probably think is like an XCOM-y type feel, but the adventure part, can you explain the exploration and stuff like that? Really got me.
Yeah, well, the exploration, we wanted to build like a really interesting world because the game's based upon like a really interesting franchise. So what we wanted to do was make a game that you could explore and look around and find interesting stuff in the world. And it tells a story, a visual storytelling. Also, the real-time mode allows you to walk around and position your characters. So when you get into a tactical situation, you're kind of pre-prepared. You can ambush enemies, for example.
So that is the biggest difference between other games of its type. That this one, and you we'll probably be able to see it as we watch these clips here.
Yeah.
But it moves seamlessly between combat, in and out of combat.
Yes.
Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so if you get to a combat situation, if you can actually achieve your goal of killing the enemies or defeating them in the combat situation, you'll snap back into a real-time situation. So it moves seamlessly between the two. So you can tackle levels and parts of the game in different ways each time.
Now, did he just sneak past the battle?
Yeah.
Is that what? Okay, so
you can do that to some degree. You can't sneak all the way from the start to the end of the game. That would be probably a bad idea.
Sure.
From our part, right?
Right.
But you can avoid certain battles. You'll find enemies in levels that are a little bit too hard for you to fight. So those are the people you would come back and fight a bit later in the game.
Yeah, I was going to ask, real-time stealth is something that you guys mention a lot. Going in and out of these battles, now, if I'm the type of player that likes to go in guns ablaze, can I do that?
Yeah, well, you can do that. It'll just put the difficulty level up quite a fair degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And someone, I put my schedule out on Twitter and I said, hey, these are the games I'm going to be doing today. And someone said, oh my God, you're doing Mutant Year Zero. And I went, why are you excited about that? It's a brand new game. Little did I know that.
Yeah, that it's based upon a classic pen and paper RPG from Sweden.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. He was telling me there are people like coming up to him like, oh, that's so great. You're gonna do this like this for my childhood. It's like if like the first Dungeons and Dragons game for us. Like someone makes a game like that, it's gonna get your attention.
Yeah,
for sure.
People are coming up to me in the street and they're saying, oh, Mutant. Oh, I used to love that.
Wow.
You working on the game? I just want to shake your hand. That's what they're saying.
Such a good feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't know anything about Mutant until I came to work in Sweden, and then it became obvious that everyone knows about this.
Now, looking into your trailer, there's a lot going on in that trailer. There's a lot of emotion, and you can already see personalities of different characters. Will we be introduced to more characters as the story goes along?
Absolutely. There will be more characters you can discover and you can recruit. Actually, you start the game with the two characters, Boorman and Ducks, the boar and the duck, obviously. And you will recruit more characters as you go through. And you can keep a squad of 3 characters at any time, but you can swap. As long as you're not in combat, you can swap at any point your roster of characters. Yeah.
So about that, my problem is when it comes to a lot of those games like that is the leveling.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I swap a character out, but I really like this other character, but I wanted to try a new one, will they both get leveled, or you have to level individually?
Okay. We did think a lot about having how the leveling works for the game, and we actually originally had the characters level up independently. But a lot of games, that's a bit of a problem because what happens is you get into a point where you've got like a character you don't use very much, and they become like a load of dead weight.
Right.
So what we do, we have a squad leveling up all together at the same time. So that way we don't get any characters that we don't want to use at some point.
Now, as you move through the game, since it goes from controlling the player as you're navigating the world to like a battle thing, how does like a loadout work?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's no set loadout. They do have a specific mutation tree, which is, because the game's called Mutant, it would make sense that we have mutations for the characters.
Sure, yeah.
And that's like special abilities they can do, like they can grow wings, or they can do, charge through walls, or turn their skin to stone, this kind of thing.
Okay.
These are specific to the characters, and there's a tree you can unlock these with certain, when you're leveling up, and you can buy these from this mutation tree. But the loadout, there's weapons and things to be found in the world, and you can buy weapons, and so you can mix and match these things around.
Okay, so characters are not like locked into one weapon.
No.
Okay,
you can
that's
mix and
way
match
different than I'm
weapons.
used to. Like,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get one heavy guy, he's got the heavy weapon. Like,
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But you can actually there's a variety.
Yes, and you can put you can basically give them armor and other items that will give them advantages in certain things. So you could give somebody a armor that gives them a protection against fire, or give them armor that gives them, or a headgear that will give them a high ground advantage. So when they're sniping, they get a percentage increase. So yeah, you can mix and match. You can tailor make. You can nominate this character as the sniper, and this character as the tank. Yeah.
To go off of that, is there any crafting or any customization to weapons or any in-depth modes of that such way?
Yes, there is. You can upgrade your weapons. You can collect broken weapon parts around the world. And there's a workbench in the Ark, which is where the mutants live. It's their sort of stronghold. So yeah, you can upgrade your weapons. You can also find attachments you can add, which give the weapons certain properties, like electrical, EMP properties, fire properties, and whatnot.
I love the way you say it like a kid who's like, you can put fire on it, you can put electricity on it, you can zap somebody with your baseball bat. You put like, dude, I love your enthusiasm. It's infectious.
But it's
really
great. I mean, I'm all right at the game. I'm the producer for the game, so I'm okay. And I'm pretty good. I can go through and play most levels. But when the guy said, "Hey, we've finished the attachments for the game," so I was like, "Yeah, this is great." And there's that annoying guy. I put the fire thing on the gun, and and it was great. Yeah, I had a real good time burning the hell out of people.
Now, can we talk a little bit about the map and the story progression, like moving from location to location and getting pieces of story?
Yeah, I mean the story. I won't go into too much detail right now about the story. Don't want to spoil it.
Absolutely.
But as you go through the game, the story will be revealed. There's a narrative that you'll go through, and there's dialogue between the characters. But yeah, I mean the map. It's quite a big map. It's actually linked together. Everything is connected, so you can walk from one side of the world to the other. But it is in separate sections.
Okay.
But as you go through, you'll reveal different areas. You'll also get some hints. So when you go into the arc, you'll get hints as to where other interesting areas are, and they'll appear on your map, and you can go in and explore those as well.
Now, do you go back and forth between, like, you'll see the same area a couple times if you're traveling, like you go all the way west, and then you come back, you'll go through the same areas?
You can do, and there will be things to do when you go back through those areas. There might be tough enemies that you couldn't really manage before, or items perhaps you should go and look for, or hidden areas. But you can fast travel. Once you've got through an area, or you've discovered it, you can fast travel to it as long as you're not in combat.
Okay. Wow. I gotta say, man, the look of this game.
The lighting is
amazing. The lighting, the shadows, it is phenomenal. But the first time I was able to listen to the trailer, the sound design is really, really good as well.
Well, our sound designer is going to be super happy.
Well, shout-outs. I mean,
confirmed.
That's yeah.
We love you, even if we don't say it. All gamers do love sound design. It's not something that's like the first thing out of our mouth, but it should be.
Yeah, we call him Mozart. His nickname is Mozart, actually, and he's we have an audio designer and we have a sound designer. Sorry, we have an audio designer and we have a composer.
Right.
Mozart's the composer, and he made a really good soundtrack for the game. One of the first things I really liked about the game when I got to try it out before I started working with the team, because they'd already started work on it, was the sound had this really good 80s synth thing going on in there, and I was like, this is cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we really did a good job on the sound, I think, for the game.
Well, ran out of time, man. Got to wrap it up.
Okay.
You got a tease. You got a taste of Mutant Year Zero: Return to Eden. This is going to be a day one pickup for me.
Absolutely.
And
Me
probably
too.
for a lot of people out there. You can get it 2018, it said.
Yeah.
No
other details.
No specificity on that. Okay. But 2018, it'll be available for PC, Xbox, and PS4.
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. Well, man, thank you for showing it off. Thank you for talking.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for being excited.
I'm always excited.
I appreciate that.
Even after these long days at E3.
He's not lying. But stick around. We got more content coming to you live here at E3. Don't go away.